The stench of burnt garlic bread filled the cramped kitchen at Arnold's restaurant. A portly man in his late 40s, Arnold Becker, stormed through the kitchen door, his face beet red, veins bulging in his neck. "Frank," he bellowed, "what in the world is going on back here? Table 6 just sent back their pasta primavera, saying it tasted like dog food." Frank, the head chef, looked up from the stove with blurry, bloodshot eyes, barely registering Arnold's furious stance. Frank nonchalantly took a swig from a flask he kept hidden in his apron. "What do you expect, Arnie?" he slurred. "You buy the cheapest ingredients possible. I'm doing my best here." "Your best?" Arnold sputtered, a mixture of anger and disbelief in his voice. He clenched his fists, his patience finally snapping. "I just caught you drinking on the job again, Frank. That's the 3rd time this week." Around them, young waitresses exchanged knowing glances. Frank's drunken antics were infamous among the staff, hitting on waitresses, messing up orders, even setting off small grease fires. Everyone was fed up, but no one had the courage to cross the ill-tempered chef. Yet Arnold, feeling his own limits push back hard against years of frustration, knew what he had to do. "You know what?" Arnold declared, his voice steady with newfound resolve. "I've had enough of your crap, Frank. You're fired. Pack up your knives and get out." Frank hurled his grease-stained apron at Arnold's feet. "Screw you, man. Good luck finding another chef willing to work in this dump," he spat, storming out and slamming the door behind him. Silence hung in the air for a moment before the kitchen staff erupted into applause. "Good riddance," muttered a waitress. "I was ready to quit if I had to endure one more shift with that creep." Martha, Arnold's elderly neighbor and sometimes prep helper, patted Arnold's shoulder. "You did the right thing, dear. We're all behind you, 100%. Arnold collapsed into a chair, putting his head in his hands. "What am I going to do, Martha? Without a head chef, I'll have to close the restaurant. I'm barely scraping by as it is." "Have faith, Arnold," Martha said in a soothing tone. "The Lord works in mysterious ways. I'm sure he'll provide a solution." Arnold sighed. He wanted to believe her, but all he felt was a rising panic. His little restaurant, his pride and joy, seemed on the verge of collapsing. He couldn't bear the thought. The next morning, Arnold sat in his cramped office, flipping despondently through his Rolodex of restaurant contacts. No one was available to step in, especially given Arnold's reputation for low wages and high turnover. "What's the plan, boss?" asked Olivia, his assistant manager, poking her head in. "We've got reservations for tonight." Arnold rubbed his stubble. "Looks like we'll have to close for a sanitation day. Call the customers and tell them we had an unexpected maintenance issue in the kitchen. Offer them a 20% discount on their next visit." "You got it, boss," Olivia replied, giving him a sympathetic smile. Just as she left, Arnold's cell phone rang. It was his son, Evan. "Hey, Pops, we still on for lunch?" Arnold groaned, having forgotten about their plans. "Hey, buddy, I'm dealing with a bit of a crisis at the restaurant. Had to fire my head chef." "Oh, that sucks," Evan replied. "Want me to bring you some takeout instead? We could eat in the park. It's a nice day." Arnold felt a rush of affection. "That actually sounds perfect. Meet you at the usual spot in an hour." Arnold and Evan sat on a park bench, munching on gyros from a nearby food cart. Arnold filled his son in on the Frank situation. "Yikes," Evan said, shaking his head. "But you definitely did the right thing. Nobody should have to put up with that behavior." Arnold nodded grimly. "I just hope I can find a replacement soon, or I'm screwed. I've already called everyone I know." Suddenly, Evan's face turned bright red, his eyes bulging as he clutched at his throat. "Evan!" Arnold cried, leaping to his feet. "Are you choking? Do you need the Heim?" Before he could finish, a woman appeared out of nowhere and wrapped her arms around Evan from behind, performing a few deft thrusts that dislodged the chunk of gyro from his windpipe. Evan gasped for air, coughing and sputtering. "Oh my God!" Arnold exclaimed, turning to the woman. "You just saved my son's life." As Evan caught his breath, Arnold got a good look at the stranger. She appeared to be in her late 30s, with unkempt blonde hair and worn clothes. Judging by the overflowing shopping cart nearby, she was likely homeless, but her clear blue eyes were sharp and alert. "Don't mention it," she muttered, looking uncomfortable with the attention. She turned to leave, but Arnold gently grabbed her arm. "Please, let me repay you," he insisted, reaching for his wallet. The woman held up a dirty hand. "I don't want your money, mister. I didn't do it for a reward." "Sorry I caused a scene," Evan said, still catching his breath. "But thank you again. What's your name?" "Ingrid," the woman replied gruffly. "At least let us buy you a cup of coffee," Evan said, gesturing to a nearby cafe. "Please, it's the least we can do." Ingrid hesitated, glancing longingly at the cafe. "All right," she relented. "1 cup of coffee." Inside the cozy cafe, Ingrid cradled a steaming mug, inhaling the aroma with a blissful expression. Arnold couldn't help but notice that beneath the grime, she was quite beautiful. "So, Ingrid," Evan said gently, "if you don't mind me asking, how did you end up in your current situation?" It looked like you really knew what you were doing back there. Ingrid stared into her coffee, a flicker of pain crossing her face. "I used to be a chef," she said softly. "A damn good one, too. Worked my way up from dishwasher to executive chef at one of the hottest restaurants in the city." Arnold's interest piqued. "Which restaurant?" "Lair," she replied, her tone bitter. "We even earned a Michelin star a few years back." Arnold let out a low whistle. "That's impressive. So what happened?" Ingrid sighed. "I made the mistake of getting involved with the owner. I thought he was separated, but turns out he was very much married. His wife found out and she turned everyone against me. Staff, investors, critics. Accused me of stealing recipes, sleeping my way to the top. My reputation was ruined. No one would hire me after that." Arnold felt a surge of sympathy. He knew too well how ruthless the restaurant industry could be. A thought began to take shape. "Ingrid, would you consider working for me?" he asked, surprising himself. "I own a restaurant nearby and I just lost my head chef. I could really use your help." Ingrid let out a bitter laugh. "Didn't you hear anything I just said? I'm a homeless drunk with no ID. I appreciate the offer, but trust me, you don't want me in your kitchen." "I think you underestimate yourself," Arnold replied sincerely. "Just come by tomorrow and see the place. If you're not interested, no hard feelings. But I think you belong in a kitchen, not on the streets." Ingrid hesitated, clearly torn. "All right," she said finally. "I'll come by and check it out. But no promises." Arnold beamed. "Excellent. I really think this could be the fresh start you need." The next morning, Arnold anxiously paced his restaurant kitchen, waiting for Ingrid. After putting out feelers, he'd managed to confirm her story. Former colleagues described her as a passionate, talented chef whose career had been unfairly derailed. Just then, the kitchen door swung open, and Ingrid entered carrying a plastic grocery bag. "Morning, chef," Arnold greeted her warmly. "Welcome to Arnold's kitchen." Ingrid surveyed the worn appliances and chipped countertops, looking skeptical. "It's not much," Arnold admitted, "but it's got good bones. And with the right touch, I think we could really turn things around." She glanced around, a glimmer of excitement in her eyes. "All right, I'm here, aren't I? But if we're doing this, I'm going to need a few things." She pulled a pristine chef's coat and knives from her bag. Arnold smiled, feeling a surge of optimism. For the first time in a long time, he felt hopeful about the future of his restaurant. Over the next few weeks, Ingrid brought new life to Arnold's restaurant. Her exquisite dishes, crafted from simple ingredients, attracted more customers, and word quickly spread about the hidden gem with Michelin-starred flavors. With each passing day, Ingrid shed more of her old wounds, finding confidence and purpose in the kitchen once again. And as the restaurant's fortunes rose, so did Arnold's feelings for her. But that, my friends, is a story for another day.